Well, fellas, here it is. So, genuine Suzuki parts. And so if you got a DRZ, this is your Kickstarter. Let's go ahead and let's open this thing up and see what we got inside. Boot, we've got a gasket, and we've got an installation guide. Now, one of the things that I just wanted to point out, this is a decompression cable as well, which if you have a DRZ, an E model, you're going to have this. Any other DRZ, you won't. But who says you need it? All we're after is a kickstart. Got the springs. Who knows what that is? Some more. Looks like another gear. Skid plate has to go, the oil has to be drained, the coolant has to also be drained. Then we will be removing this cover, and that's when we start getting into the entertaining part. We're going to drop the skid plate, drain the oil, drain the coolant. Either way, if you're going to put a kickstart, that's what we got to do. Remove all the oil from the engine. Alright, so after you've done draining the oil in no particular order, fellas, I'm just going to go ahead and I've already loosened this off, and we're going to drain the coolant. Alright, fellas, with the oil drained, the coolant drained, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the skid plate. Okay, along with the skid plate, one of the other things that I'm going to have to remove is probably going to be the brake lever. And now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to remove all the bolts. That once you've went ahead and loosened all your bolts all the way around. Alright, so once we've removed the cover, we got to remove the springs and remove the clutch. And when you've got that done, go ahead and just removing all the springs. Move this cover and you just pull it out. So I went ahead and I removed everything off in as a whole. Okay, so next we got to break this. One of the things you're going to need is you're going to need a clutch basket tool. Okay, so I went ahead and I've removed the push rod and the spring seat and all of that. I've went ahead and I've put my tool on. I've already broken this nut. So, and that I believe is a 27. So now just pop the nut off. It goes on one way. Okay. I just flatten that out so that I can get the nut out. Get at that. All right. Now that comes out, and now we can start working on the good stuff. All right, so let's get at that. We're gonna go over to the bench. We're gonna take a look at our parts, what we need, what we don't, and then I'm gonna get at it and get this thing installed and get her back going. All right, so now that we're over here, and I know I said I was gonna go to the bench, but there is one other thing. We got to remove this stopper and this spacer. Now we're going to go over to the bench. We're going to sort out the parts that we need and the parts that we don't need. All right, so let's get at her. All right, so over at the bench we have a bunch of parts in a bunch of various bags, and some of them we're going to be using, some of them we are not going to be using. So, fellas, everything that you see here, oh, and you will not be using the cable. And I'm just going to set these aside for now. All right, guys, so this here is the first step. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this, okay, I went ahead and I've just put a little bit of red Loctite. I don't know if it can focus in on that, but that is the way that this actually goes, and it goes in right there. And you want to go ahead and you want to tighten that down. So now with that, we'll move on to the next step. All right, for the next step, you're going to need the washer, the circlip, this piece, and this gear. Just make sure that it is properly seated all the way around. Okay, once you have that, you can line up some bolts, and we're going to move on to the next step. Now what you want to do is you want to actually take a look around the shaft, and I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but there is a line, okay, and they're calling that a punch mark, but it's going to come in reference very, very soon. And now we're going to go ahead and we are going to install the spring. So one of the things, okay, so, and this only goes in one way, okay, it goes in this way, so the little thing goes towards the gear and it just slides in. You'll notice that it's got a collar. Collar goes inside towards that, just like so. And then over here I'm going to locate that, and on your gear you will see a punch mark. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but there is a punch mark right there, and these two are supposed to line up. Okay, so it's kind of hard to do. Okay, and they do line up. So that's the way that it goes right there. So once you have this stuff all done, your punch marks line up, the spring goes on, and then the washer goes on. Just like so, and you can probably go ahead and there we go. So, like so. Okay, it's going to want to pop it out, but that's okay. So from here, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we have this right here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this here should be in and around the 4 o'clock. Your spring should be up here, and we want to clock this and bring it all the way over and in. Okay, that's proper right there. So next you have these guys. There we go. Just like that. This here is already pre-lubed. Let's just down. Oh, let's have a look. And that is that's it. So now we're going to start putting stuff back together. Start with the clutch basket. All right. So this guy gets torqued to 50 foot-pounds. So fellas, when you get your cover back on, it is a little tricky. You've got a little washer type thing in there. Make sure that your gasket in there. You've got two dowels, one right here and one over here. Want to make sure there's a lot of different size of screws that are in this. So just be careful and make sure that you get them in the right order. And just button everything back up. And the next step will be to actually put on the kickstart itself. Okay, I went ahead and I just put in the little the seal there as well. And of course, to finish it up, after you've gotten all your bolts all buttoned up and you got the proper squish on the gasket, the last piece is right here. Okay, and that's gonna do it. I'm gonna put some Loctite on this, and there you have it. Okay, so let me get some Loctite on this. I'm gonna stand it up. I'm gonna kick it, but not start it because I have no oil and I have no antifreeze. So sit tight. And there it is. So let me stand this up and see what we can do. Well, there you have it, fellas. The kickstart installation from basically start to finish. Again, this is only for entertainment purposes, but for me it actually worked out pretty good. So I'm going to do that. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want to see me do a big bore kit. I'm even thinking of going to a different carburetor, Electron maybe. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.